Johannes Duncker, Ilker, Çatak für den Film Das Lehrerzimmer.
Hush not child, and don't cry. Your folks might understand.
안녕하세요. 두 마리 채널의 이기상 평론가입니다. 오늘은 독일 영화 감독 일커 차탁과 시나리오 작가 요하네스 던커를 모셨습니다. 두 분의 2023년 영화 티처스 라운지는 베를린 영화제에서 세계 최초로 공개되어 또 아카데미 시상식 외국어 영화상 후보까지 오른 작품인데요. Thank you so much for accepting this interview, and hopefully this interview will provide Korean people more insight into your film. We'll jump right into the first question. This question goes out to the both of you. So I know that Mr. Çatak, in the AFI Masterclass, you've said that complete freedom is not a friend of creativity, and that sometimes you have to say some things figure out things to say when you're forbidden from saying those things. Mm-hmm. So I was going to ask you, are there any examples during the production of The Teacher's Lounge where these type of limitations actually helped you out for new creativity or ideas?
Yeah, I mean, to even further the scope a little bit, if you allow, I think a couple of films we looked at while we were writing the film were the films of Oscar Fajardi, and I think this is an interesting thing to think about is that films that come out of societies where there's strong censorship, often filmmakers have to find ways of expressing things that they are not allowed to express, and these often can make the films more interesting because they need to find a different way. And I think we're both really big fans of Fajardi's films and especially his screenplays. So when we were writing, at some point we thought about, maybe it's a good idea not to leave the school, to set this boundary for ourselves, to think about other ways of telling the story we want to tell without leaving this premise. And I think for me, this is a challenge, but it's also a limitation that furthers creativity, I think, instead of cutting you down, because yes, the possibilities are unlimited, but they are still unlimited if you're only in a school. So what do you really miss? I think it's more like a starting point to think differently about what you're trying to tell.
Yeah, and it forces you to really stick to the thing that you are actually talking about. Because the moment when you can leave the school and you can, take off pressure, then it becomes, diluted. And therefore, it was just, I think it was one of the most important decisions to just say we cannot leave school. Mm-hmm. And that made a big difference.
Mm-hmm. The second question also goes out to the both of you. For the Teacher's Lounge, you spent a lot of time talking to children and asking them about their fears, their dreams, and etc. So I wanted to ask you guys what you guys were like as children, and if there's any memories or instances that made you want to make movies, or especially The Teacher's Lounge.
Well, I think it was only after some time that Ilker said to me, there's actually something of Oscar also, something of you, of me in Oscar. And I moved abroad when I was 9 with my parents, and I think they had a phase where I just didn't want to take part in the lessons and was just, refusing. Mm. And I think this kind of maybe subconsciously even found its way into the character. And for me, it was also a teacher in school. I mean, it was the friendship to Ilker, but it was also a teacher that was very much into movies, and he had stopped watching movies for some time, but he started showing me the classics. He showed me Godard movies, and I would get into a conversation with him about them. And it was this feeling also of being taken seriously as a young person by this adult. I wasn't just a student. I became a friend with him. I was somebody I could really have a dialogue with him, and he would take my opinion seriously.
But you're asking what our dreams were when we were children?
Or just in general, what you guys were like as children, or if there's any memories that inspired you to become a movie maker or to make The Teacher's Lounge.
I don't know. I was a very vivid kid. I moved around a lot. I ran. I was just very physical, and I think I wanted to be a pilot And then I made a film about a pilot before the Teachers Lounge, and I never wanted to be a filmmaker or something like that. Also because my family never, that wasn't the thing. Like my family never said, you should be an artist or something. They're working class. But yeah, you wanted to be an IT
Yeah,
guy.
I was very much the opposite. Very quiet kids, reading a lot, but also going to the movies, especially when we moved to Turkey. I think it was a way for me to get away from things, also to like discover a different world and be lost in there for 2 hours. So I really excessively went to the movies for some time, and then, but it took some time until I noticed, that could be a career. I think you don't have that as a child. You don't think I could ever do that, you know?
Yeah,
Or don't like even have the thought, there are people doing this, you know? You have to
Yeah.
first understand that there's people doing this in
Right.
movies. Yeah.
And no parent will tell you to become a director or become a screenwriter. No parent will tell you. They will always tell you to study law, become a doctor, or whatsoever. But no one will tell you do arts, or at least not in my family.
Yeah. Fortunately, I have like 2 older sisters who both have like a regular job, so I was allowed to do something else. You know?
Right. It's similar in Korea where everyone just wants their children to go into law or become a doctor, things like that. So
Yeah, I mean, as a if you want to be in arts, there will be a lot of naysayers, and you will have to just prove them wrong. You will just have to be stubborn and do your thing. And this is something that I really want to get out to a lot of young people, because so many young people, especially like on a campus like this, where people are paying for their studies, and it's a lot of debt that you go into. I understand that you want to do something decent, but yeah, I just sometimes you just sometimes also need to do what you got to do. And for us, it was just, I think when you're an artist, you do it anyway. You have to do it. It's not just like, today I feel like I want to become a filmmaker. No, it's inside of you, and you have to follow that.
thank you. We just have 2 more questions left. I know that your next project is Yellow Letters, and you're currently in post-production. And for the audience that doesn't know what the movie is about, it's about an artist couple who is not aligned with their politics, so they get ostracized, they lose their jobs, and they're faced with their sellout of their artistic ideals. And for the thematic element of that film, I think there's an echo from the theme in The Teacher's Lounge, where an idealistic character is in clash with this world that requires moral compromise. So when you're writing or when you're conceiving ideas, is this a conscious thematic choice that you're looking after, or are you inspired by real life moral dilemmas?
It's actually a very good question. I don't think it's very conscious. I mean, yes, it is conscious the way I write a script or we write scripts, but I think it's more about the fact that for me and for us, artistic integrity is just something very, very important. Like I could not make a film where I don't feel where I can't watch, that I cannot watch myself, like that I don't like. And like keeping that artistic integrity is hard as an artist, because there are so many people who will want you to do things differently, who will ask you to change your script, who will ask you to make your film shorter, who will ask you to cast some Instagram star or instead of a real actor. And I think like protecting those ideals is a big issue, and that's why I go back to these kind of dilemmas, moral dilemmas, where protagonists are fighting for what they believe in. I would say so, but it's not that conscious. I think I'm drawn to stories just the way you're drawn to, certain people, and these stories just yeah, I just like them.
I also think like as an artist, maybe you filter these things, or you concern yourself with like everyday news, social dilemmas, and they kind of find their way into what you're thinking about, what you're writing about. And I think great artists have managed to write about things that are still relevant, like 30 years, 100 years later. But it's not, I don't think it's very conscious, but I think you have to be kind of in the world, soak everything up. So you kind of filter that into something that is of interest to you and hopefully matters also to other people.
So the last question, I just want to tie it back to the Korean audience that is watching. And a lot of Korean films like Minari or Parasite also like deal with social issues through family, very personal stories. And both of your works in your over has dealt with societal issues and with very personal narratives for a character. So are there any Korean filmmakers or Korean films that you've enjoyed or been inspired by?
I think the film that I saw the most in my whole life was Old Boy.
Oh,
Yeah, I watched that film over and over and over again, and Park Chan-wook is just a filmmaker that I love, and the way he leaves things out and trusts his audience was just very good. I was very much influenced by him.
Yeah. Also, this ending, I think that's something that always stuck with me and that we've continuously been talking about again. It's like you have this person and there's this kind of facial expression where you don't know, is it like a smile or is it
it's like
Right.
what is
grin.
it?
right.
Yeah, and this kind of imagery also that, as Ilker said, leaves it to the audience what to make of it is hugely inspiring.
And I think your film, The Teacher's Lounge, does a similar impact in the same amount of caliber in the ending scene, where
Thank you.
the teacher and the child in the classroom with the Rubik's Cube, and it's a question. It doesn't give
Yeah.
you any answers.
Right.
It's an open-ended discussion with the audience.
Right.
And I just had such a blast watching your film, The Teacher's Lounge. Check it out if you haven't watched it. And the next film, The Yellow Letters, when is it coming out?
I will hope that it's coming out this year, but we don't know. We don't know yet.
We'll keep you updated on the status of the Yellow Letters. And thank you so much for your time. Thank you for talking with my audience.
Of course.